Hi, Mario.
Yomi, you said tomorrow 6:15, but the Koleinu says 6:20, but it's okay, 6:15, right?
6:20 is fine.
Okay.
6:20 is fine. Okay, we're on 85, pay hey. Uvnevis, the other people who were modest were the Bnei Beseira and Yonasan ben Shaul, Shaul HaMelech's son, Yonasan.
Mm-hmm.
Rav Shimon Gamliel Hadamara. Rav Shimon Gamliel minimized himself when he said he was a lion, the son of a fox, as opposed to Rabbi Elazar. Rav Shimon, it was Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rav Shimon ben Yochai. So he lowered himself. Bnei Beseir Domermar Oshivu Berosh Minu Lenosi Aleim. This was in Masechta Pesachim. The Bnei Beseira were the Nesiim, and they saw that Hillel, who had come up from Bavel, was greater than them in Torah. They stepped aside and they appointed him the Nasi. Yonasan ben Shaul, the Kormel of David, Ve'atatim Locha Yisrael V'Aniei Lecha Lemishta. Even though Yonasan was a prince, he could have taken over for his father Shaul. He stepped aside for David HaMelech. Now, Mimai Dilma Yonasan ben Shaul the Chazid the Korah Alma Basar David. Maybe Yonasan was practical. Maybe he saw that the people were following David. He didn't want to compete with him. Bnei Beser Nami the Chazid Hillel David B'nai. Maybe it's not a reflection of their modesty, but reflection of their reality that they understood that Hillel was smarter than them. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel was the true modest person. So it was told to Rebbe that Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon accepted upon himself suffering, and it was considered ma'asim tovim. So Rebbe said, okay, he accepted Yisurim. Kibla late place or shani, he accepted. Walter, we're on Pei Ahmed Aleph, 85. Thank you very much. After Chatzois, you're allowed to take a haircut today.
I think you're allowed even in the morning.
I think people are machmir to do it after Chatzois, but anyways, maybe in the morning too. But you certainly don't have to wait till Sunday. You could do it because Shabbos is part of it. Okay. So Amar Rabbi Chaviv in Yisurin, Rabbi saw that Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon accepted Yisurin. He said, I'll accept Yisurin too. Keep it a late place or shani. He accepted 12 years. Shizbet Smirsa. Smirsa is urologic. It's kidney stones. Pain from kidney stones. Rashi says, Evan Shabamakim Ktanim. Stone in the urinary tract. U Shvabit Svarna. This sounds like scurvy, lack of vitamin C. Adri law, other people say Shiva Bitsmirta Vishis Bitsvarna. 7 years with stones and 6 years with scurvy.
He says it's a mouth disease known as thrush.
Well, thrush, yeah, that's candida, like that's yeast infection, but most others learn that this is scurvy, lack of vitamin C.
Oh, okay.
So, Harui Dvei Rebbe, Havi Osir Mishvor Malka. Rebbe was richer than even Shmor Malka. So his horsemen, Karavarami Kista Lachayvsa. How many animals did he have? When they would put straw before the behemoths, they would hear the animals chewing the straw for 3 miles. It was so painful for Rebbe to urinate because of the stones that he had. They would coordinate feeding the animals because they made so much noise eating at the same time that Rebbe went to the bathroom that people wouldn't hear Rebbe screaming in pain. They would hear Rebbe screaming above the noise of the animals so that even the sailors on the sea would hear him yell. The Yisurim of Rav Lezer Rav Shimon were worse. The Ilu Yisur Rav Lezer Rav Shimon me'ava bo'al u'me'ava holchu. It came. These were Yisurim me'ava. He welcomed them and accepted them. But Rabbi al Yedei Maisa, Rabbi brought them on himself. Now, al Yedei Maisa ba'u mahi. How did Rebbe bring us? There was a calf that was being taken to be shechted. The calf put its head under the cloak of Rebbe and was crying because she's going to shechita. Amarle Zil, Rebbe said, go, lekach notzarta. Listen, this is what you were created for. Amri, so they said in Shemayim, Marachim, we see Rebbe is not compassionate for the Brias, we will cause him suffering. Now, and he did the Maisa that caused the Yisroim to leave him. The maid of Rebbe was sweeping Rebbe's house. There were weasels there, and cockroaches. So Rebbe said to the maid, leave them alone. He learned his lesson. He said, you should have rachmanis on the insects. So they said in Shemayim, we see Rebbe's compassionate, we'll have compassion on him. During the period of time that Rabbi Lezer was having Isurim, no person died before his time. He was a kapor for the door. The years of Rebbe's suffering, the world didn't need rain. There was so much moisture from dew that they didn't need rain. And a day of rain can be bad like a day of judgment. Could be floods, could be thunder, lightning. In fact, if it wasn't for the fact that the world needed rain, the Chachamim would have long ago been mevatel the Metzias of rain. But in the times of Rebbe, even though there was no rain, when they would pull a radish from the ground, it would immediately fill up with water because there was so much moisture in the ground. Ikli Rebbe Lasri Rabbi Lezer Rab Shimon. Rebbe visited the neighborhood of Rabbi Lezer Rab Shimon. Amar Lam Yeshlo ben Lo Tzadik. Rebbe inquired, does Rabbi Lezer have a son? Amar Lo Yeshlo ben v'chol zonosh nizker sh'shnayim socharta b'shmona. But he's fallen off the derech. If a prostitute charges $2, he offers them $8. Asya aspache Rebbe. So Rebbe took it upon himself to make him a rabbi, to give him smicha. He gave him over to Rav Shimon ben Isi, who was his uncle, his mother's brother. Kol Yom Omar Lekrisi ana Ezel. The son every day would be homesick for his city. It was hard for him to learn. Amrlei Chakim Abdu Yosef V'Gulsa Dedava Parso Alecha. They called you Rebbe. They gave you a title. They gave you a talus of gold, and they're calling you Rebbe. And you want to go back to your city? Amrlei Mumi Azuvada. Okay, he decided, I'm going to forget about going back home, and I'm going to stay and learn. He got also Yosef and Sivos the Rebbe. He became a big Talmid Chacham and was sitting in the yeshiva of Rebbe. Shama Lakali, Rebbe heard a voice. Amar Hakala Dami Lakali Rav Shimon. Oh, I hear a voice that's very similar to Rav Shimon. It was his Armalei Breu, it's his son. Kari Alei Rebbe said, Pri Tzadik Eitz Chaim v'lokech lefashos Chacham. Pri Tzadik Eitz Chacham is Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Shimon. This is the son, Rabbi Yossi of Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Shimon. He's the Pri Tzadik. He's the son of the Tzadik Rabbi Lezer. He himself became a big guy. V'lokech nafshes Chacham is Rabbi Shimon ben Isi ben Lakunya. That this is the guy who took a nefesh and made him into a Chacham. That's Rabbi Shimon ben Isi. When Rabbi Yossi, the son of Rabbi Lezer, died, they wanted to take him to bury in Merom, in the same cave that his father Rabbi Lezer and the grandfather Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai was buried. Again, there was a snake at the opening. They said, snake, open up your mouth and let the son come to be buried next to his father. Lo paskalu. The Nachash didn't allow. So the people thought, well, maybe Rabbi Yossi, the son of Rabbi Lezer, didn't have schus to be buried with his father because his father was greater in Torah than him. A Baskel came out and said, no, not because Rabbi Lezer was greater in Torah. Ella, Zaya B'tzar Myra. Rabbi Lezer Rabbi Shimon had lived in a cave to escape the Romans, he and his father. So they had the schus of the Tsar Mara. Zeh, the grandson, lo had Tsar Mara. So he wasn't zoicha to be makaver with him, but not because he wasn't a great chacham. Ikla Rabbi Lasred Rav Tarfon. Rabbi visited the neighborhood of Rav Tarfon. Armelo Yeshlo Ben Lo Tzadik. Shai Mekapechas Banav. Rav Tarfon would always say, you know what, let one of my sons die or get slapped if this and this is not true. So Rebbe inquired about his son. Armelo Ben Einlo, but Ben Bas Yeshlo doesn't have a son, but he has a grandson, the son of his daughter. But he went after derech. Kol zona shneskesh b'tayim sucharta b'shmona. A zona that normally was hired for 2, he paid 8. Isyavu kamei, they brought the son to Rebbe. If you become a Baal Tshuva, I will give you my daughter to get married. Hadar Bey, he became a Baal Tshuva, he became an Adam Gadol. Some say they got married, but they got divorced. That he never got married in order, he didn't want people to think that he became a Baal Tshuva because he wanted to get married to Rebbe's daughter. Now, Lamalei Kulahai, what is this Rebbe who put so much effort into making Balchuvas out of these sons of Chachamim. Amir Rav, Amir Lo, Rav Chia, Rav Rav Yochanan, Amir Lo, Amir Shmuel Nachmani, Rav Yoson. Kol HaMelamed is ben Chaver Torah. If you teach the son of your colleague Torah, Zoicha v'Yoshev Yeshiva Shemal. You Zoicha to sit in the Yeshiva Shemaim. Shenemar im Tashuv v'Ashivcha l'fanai Tamol. Kol HaMelamed is ben Amaretz. If you teach an Amaretz Torah, that Afila Kodesh Baruch Hu goes to Gzeira Mevatel Bishvilo. Either Kodesh Baruch Hu made a Gzeira, you would be Mevatel. That such a person would Mevatel that Gzeira. Because of the pasuk V'im Totzi Yaakov and Zuzah Kafi Siya. Amrav Parnach Amrav Yochanan. Kol Shu Talmid Chacham Uvno Talmid Chacham Ben B'no Talmid Chacham. If a person is a Talmid Chacham and his son's a Talmid Chacham and his grandson's a Talmid Chacham, Shuv Ein Torah Posekes Mizrar La'olam. Torah will never leave that family. Shenemar V'ani Zos Prisi Lo Yamusha Mipicho Mipizracha Mipizar Zeracha Amar Hashem Me'at Radad. My Amar Hashem Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu Ani Orev L'cha B'davar. I'm a co-signer in this agreement. My Me'atav Olam Amar Yirmi Mekan Ve'elech Torah Mechazres Alachsani Shalom. The Torah comes back to the same host that would host a visitor. Rav Yosef Arbain Tanisa. Rav Yosef sat in fast 40 days. Vakir lo Mushri Picha. He was granted to be a Talmid Chacham. Yosef Arbain Tanisa Achrina Vakir lo Yamushri Picha v'Yizracha. He fasted another 40 days so that his son would be like him. Yosef Mea Tanisa Achrisa. He did 100 fasts. Vakir lo Yamushri Picha v'Yizracha and guaranteed his grandson. Omar. I don't have to fast anymore. Like we said, Torah will always come back to its host. Rav Zer Kisach Lard Yisrael, when Rav Zer made Aliyah, Yosef had Tanisat Lishtachak more Bavlomine. He wanted to forget the Babylonian way of thinking of Torah. He was not moving to Eretz Yisrael. There's a Yisrael different way of learning Torah. Yosef Me'ach Renisat Lolishka Rav Lezer B'Shnei. That he davened he fasted another 100, that Rabbi Lazar, who was the Gadol Hador, would not die, because if he would die, all of those jobs would fall on Rab Zer. Rab Zer wanted freedom to study Torah. The Yosef Me'achrinit lo nishut beinur de Gehenim. He fasted another 100 fasts so that he wouldn't ever warrant the fires of Gehenna. He would check himself every 30 days to make sure he was still on that level. He would light up an oven and he would sit in the oven to show that the fire didn't have any shlit on it. The Chachamim didn't like what he was doing. So they put their eye on him. The his thigh got singed. The korale katan charek shake. They called him the guy who limped because of this burn of his thigh. Who is the wise man? V'avenis knows and understand this. And tell us why the Churban took place. Dover Zamar Chachamim lo Pershu, Omer Neviim lo Pershu. Ad shePershu HaKadosh Baruch Hu B'atzmo. Then if the Chachamim didn't tell us who the person is, and the Neviim didn't tell us, until HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself gave the answer. Shneimar Vayomer Hashem, Al Azvam et Torati asher nasati lifnei. The Churban occurred because they left the Torah. Arvin Rav. Not that they didn't learn Torah. They didn't make a birchas HaTorah before they learned. Which the Meforshim explained, they studied Torah like they studied chemistry. They didn't approach it like it was a davar shebedush make a bracha. They found it as a very interesting subject matter, but without kedusha. and it's not Torah Hashem. Amrav Chama. My Tichsi believe Novan Tanu Chachma. In the heart of a wise person will be wisdom. Uvekerev Ksilim Tivada. Believe Novan Tanu Chachma Zetamid Chacham Betamid Chacham. That refers to a Tamid Chacham, the son of a Tamid Chacham. Uvekerev Ksilim Tivada Zetamid Chacham Ben Amoretz. Since he's the son of an Amoretz, he sort of prides himself that he has acquired Chacham. It causes haughtiness. Amr Ula Hainadamri Inshi. Astir Beligina Kish Kish Karya. You put a coin in an empty stock box and you shake it, makes a lot of noise. But if the stock box has a lot of coins and you put another coin in and shake it, doesn't make any noise. So that's the same thing about being the son of an Amoritz. Amr le Rav Yirmiyah Rav Zera. My dichsiv cotton the gadol shamu ve'eved chavshi madona. So both Cotton and Gadol everyone ends up dying. So utterly adina on Cotton the Gadol Shamu, whoever makes himself small in this world, Nasa Gadol Mabot. Al divrei Torah b'olam nasa chavshi mabot. Reish Lakish Bava Metziah Marasad Rabban. Reish Lakish went around and would mark with lime all the various burial places of tzaddikim. Kimat Lamar said Rav Chia Yama Minei. He wasn't able to find the burial place of Rav Chia. Cholosh Daite. He was depressed. He was ashamed. Amar Ribono Shel Olam Lo Pilpalti Torah Kamois. Haven't I studied Torah like him? Yotza Baskal v'Amra lo Torah kamosa pilpata Torah kamosa lo rifsa. You were mefapel in Torah, but you didn't teach publicly as much as he did. Kiavu minsu Rav Chanina Rav Chia. When Rav Chanina Rav Chia were arguing in Torah, Amar Rav Chanina Rav Chia, Bahari Didi Kaminsasi. Are you arguing with me? If Torah was forgotten, I would be able to return all the lost Torah through my pilpul. So Rav Chia said to Rav Chanina, "Ba'adi didi kominstas, the avi l'Torah lo yitach Yisrael." You're fighting with me? I'm also doing all of this so that Torah wouldn't be forgotten in the first place, so that we wouldn't come to have to return it. Maya vidna, what's my method? Azilna v'sharina kitna v'gadilna nishbi. I weave some flax and I make nets. V'tzayde tavi machilna b'srael liyasmi. And with what I sell, I feed yisoimim. Ve'arichna megilta v'kasvana chamshei chumshi. Out of the hides, I write Torah. I go from city to city. I teach 5 children 5 chumashim, and each one I teach them 1 chumash. And I teach a Mishnah to 6 children. Until I come back on my circuit, you have to teach others. Now, through this mechanism, Torah was spread in this way. How great were the works of Chia? Even greater than Rabbi, even greater than the Rabbi Yosi, who Rabbi Shmuel was the son of Rabbi Yosi. Armelech Chas v'Shalom. Lo teikazos b'Yisrael, that anybody would be greater than Rabbi Yossi. Amar Rav Zera Emesh, nearly Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina. Last night, Rabbi Yossi appeared to me in a dream. Amarti lo, who is your spot in Shemayim? He told me, Eitz Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan Eitzel me. Who's Rabbi Yochanan next to? Eitzel Rav Yanai. Rav Yanai Eitzel me. Eitzel Rav Chanina. Rav Chanina Eitzel me. Eitzel Rav Chia. So Amarti lo, I understand. Rav Yochanan Eitzel Rav Chia lo. What, Rabbi Yochanan was not next to Rav Chia? Amarli Ba'asad is cooking the nur of in the Esha. Where there is light and fire, Man Mayal Bar Nafchel Tamon, Rabbi Yochanan was a blacksmith. So we wouldn't put Rabbi Yochanan there. Rav Chaviva. Ishtoy Rav Chia Bar Srumki. Chazul Le'ahum Rabbanon Da V'shchiach Eliyahu Kavei. I saw one of the Chachamim that Eliyahu Novi was revealing himself to him. In the morning, his eyes were clear. At night, they were like burnt with fire. What's this all about? I told Eliyahu, show me the Chachamim who are going up to the yeshiva Shalmala. I was allowed to stare at all the Chachamim, except for the chariot of Rav Chia. I couldn't stare there. My Simanayu. How did he know it was Rav Chia's chariot? They would all go up and down with the malachim that go up and down on the ladder of Yaakov Avinu. Except for the chariot of Rav Chia, went up and down by itself because of how great he was. So I couldn't put myself opposite to him so that he would be mistakel me. Also, so two torches of fire struck this man, or struck me, and blinded me. I went and prayed at his kever. I got healed, but my eyes were still burned. It shows you the Madrega Rav Chia. Eliyahu would visit the yeshiva of Rebbe. Yom Echad Reish Yarchav was Rosh Chodesh. Nogalev lo asa. He was late and he didn't come. So Omar, my time in Nogalev Lamar. So Rebbe asked Eliyahu, why were you late? Omar lay, Adukin Lavram Mushini Yader Matzumagni lay. I had to wake Avram Avinu up from his sleep. I had to wash his hands and daven with him. Chen li Yitzchak, chen li Yaakov. Look me body adodi. Why don't you let Avram, Yaakov, and Yitzchak stand together? And Sari takmi barachim ma'aseh l'mashiach below zimni. They'll have such power in their tefillah. Mashiach will come before his man. Amar v'yesh tugmasu b'odam hazeh. Are there people in this world that can daven like them? Amar la, yeah. Ikar Rav Chia Banav, Rav Chia and his sons. Gazer Rebbe Tanisa. Rebbe was Gozer Tanis. Achsinus Rav Chia Banav. So normally by a Tanis, that's when you daven, you can ask for things. So when Rebbe heard that Rav Chia's sons can daven like Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, he appointed Rav Chia and his sons to be the Chaz. So when Rav Chia said Mashi Varuach, Nish Bazika, the wind moved. Amar Morda Gashim Asamitra, and it rained. Kimata Lememer Machaya Mason, Ragash Alma. So the world was shaking. Amri Barakia, they said in Shemayim, Man Kali Razi Balma, who's revealing our secrets? Amri Eliyahu, was Eliyahu Navi. It's Yavil Eliyahu Machiyu Shas and Pulsin Denura. They brought Eliyahu and they they flogged him with 60 lashes of fire. Also, idmilu keduva denora. When he came down to earth, it looked like a bear full of fire. Abinai v'tradinu. So he interrupted Chi and his sons in their tefillah, so they couldn't say Mechayim Mesim, so therefore there was no Tchias HaMesim. Okay, we'll stop here. Tomorrow we're going to learn at 6:20 at Shul. 6:20.
Okay,
Okay.
shkoyach.
Good job.
6:20. Okay,
Shabbos.
Shabbos.
Shabbos, Shabbos,
Shabbos, Mari.